Welcome to our deep dive. Today we're tackling the Thematic Apperception Test, or TAT. You gave me some interesting material that frames it all through the lens of story writing strategies. So
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
our mission today is to really unpack the TAT and pull out those core principles that make it such a revealing exercise for all of us.
I think what's really cool about the TAT is, it seems so simple just telling stories about pictures, but it can actually give you a surprisingly deep look into how your mind works.
Right.
It's amazing.
So let's get into it. The TAT involves looking at 12 pictures, 11 images, and one blank slide. For each picture, you get 4 minutes to come up with a story.
Yeah,
Think of it as a really focused burst of creative writing.
I think that 4-minute time frame is really important because it forces you to quickly process what you see and then create a narrative, and it gives a glimpse into your real-time thinking. It tacks into something called the projective hypothesis, which is the idea that when you're faced with things that are kind of vague or ambiguous, you unconsciously project your own needs and motivations and beliefs into how you interpret it.
Wow, so it's like it's taking your subconscious and putting it out there.
Kind of, yeah.
So what's the point of all this quick storytelling? What are we looking to get out of it?
Well, the goal is to tap into a whole bunch of things: your imagination, your logical thinking, your problem-solving skills, and even aspects of your personality.
Oh, wow.
The idea is that the way you interpret these situations that are kind of unclear and how you build your stories reflects your underlying thought patterns.
Okay.
It's like those recurring themes or character types in your stories might actually hint at certain personality traits or underlying concerns that you might have.
Interesting. Now, in the material that you gave me, it talks about something called the golden rule for these stories. Each narrative should ideally present a problem detail, the actions taken to solve that problem, and end with a positive outcome. And it also talks about the main character should embody what's referred to as officer-like qualities.
Yeah,
While that language comes from a very specific context,
sure.
the idea of a protagonist demonstrating positive and effective traits is key for everybody, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that emphasis on a positive resolution is really key. It encourages a solution-oriented mindset.
Right.
And those officer-like qualities, in a broader sense, they highlight traits that are valued in many areas of life. Things like leadership, initiative, responsibility, the ability to get things done.
Right. So not just for officers, but
Exactly.
yeah. So, those are good qualities for anybody to have.
Yeah.
So to help structure these stories, there's something called the SPA approach.
Yeah.
So this breaks down the story into 4 parts. We have situation, setting the scene, introducing the main character. Then we have problem, identifying the central challenge. And then we have action, how the character tackles the problem, showing those positive qualities we were just talking about. And then resolution, the positive outcome of their efforts.
And this SPA framework really provides a clear logical structure.
Yeah.
It makes sure that your story has a beginning, a middle, and end, and that problem-solving element is clearly shown.
Right.
So it demonstrates this structured approach to challenges, even if it's in this fictional context.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The suggested length for these stories is around 8 to 10 lines, or about 100 to 120 words.
Right.
The focus here is on being concise, but making every word count.
Right.
It's really about, it's a timed creative writing exercise.
Yeah.
Your interpretations are supposed to reveal underlying thought patterns.
Right. That brevity forces you to be really direct and focus on what's most important,
Yeah.
the problem, the action, and the positive result. There's no room for fluff.
Right. Let's take a look at an example that you provided me in the material. So there's a picture that shows a group of villagers near a broken bridge. And the sample story features Rahul, who is a young civil engineer who sees the problem and how it's affecting the entire community. He decides to talk to the villagers, he contacts the local authorities, he develops a cost-effective solution, and he actually works with the community to repair the bridge within a month.
Wow.
This leads to improved transportation and trade. So
What's really neat about that is it really clearly embodies that golden rule and the SPA approach. The broken bridge is the problem. Rahul's actions really show initiative and problem solving, and then the repaired bridge with the better trade, that's that positive resolution.
right, the analysis of that example really highlights some important elements. Like you were saying, Rahul shows initiative by seeing the problem and taking those first steps. He shows leadership by engaging the community and coordinating the efforts.
Absolutely.
His problem-solving skills are really evident in coming up with a solution and seeing it through to completion. And of course, the story culminates in a positive outcome that benefits the whole community.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not just about seeing a problem, it's about actively working towards a constructive solution and showing that you can bring about positive change.
So what does all of this mean for our listeners out there today?
That's a great question.
Whether you ever take a formal TAT or just face situations that require quick thinking and narrative skills, these principles are valuable.
Yeah.
The ability to spot a challenge, create a plan, and envision a positive outcome that's powerful in a lot of situations.
It really is.
So this deep dive into the TAT, I think it highlights the importance of structured thinking and positive action-focused storytelling in how we see and interact with the world.
Absolutely.
Think about how you might start framing the challenges you face as stories with the potential for those positive endings.
That raises a really interesting point for me.
Oh, yeah.
How often do you naturally approach your challenges looking for that positive resolution? And what might shift for you if you consciously started adopting this more solution-oriented narrative in your own life?
That's a great question for everybody to think about today.
It is.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the TAT.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you all next time.
See you later.